Scorpio, what's going on with you? Come on in, have a seat, make yourself comfortable. My name's Alan Hill from UnknownTruthTarot.com. Welcome back to another Scorpio love reading. Today we're going to take a look at the status of the love connection between you and your romantic person of interest. Now keep in mind that this is a timeless reading, so whether this reading's talking to you about something that you're currently going through or something from your recent past, just know that you're finding this reading now because you're supposed to watch it now. So let's get on with it. Let's get one card for what's the mutual point of interest between you and your person of interest. What's going on with you, Scorpio? What's going on with Scorpio as it relates to their romantic person of interest and the connection between them? Let's get one more. Thank you. Well, this one's going to be interesting right away, I can tell. Hold on to your britches. Let's see what we got going on with your person, Scorpio. What's going on with Scorpio's person of interest as it relates to Scorpio and the connection between them? All right. Let's see what we have here. All right, on the bottom of the deck, the overall energy of this reading, Six of Cups. That's Scorpio energy right there. That's the past. It's thinking about the past, reminiscing about the past, the good old days, the way things used to be between the two of you. It can represent that this is a deep emotional connection between the two of you. There's probably some history between the two of you. This card can also represent something from the past coming back up again or happening again, or even a person from the past showing back up. Now, I do want to say right away that that doesn't necessarily mean someone from your person's past, as in like someone that they used to be with romantically in some way before you. It can mean that, but this can just represent that it's someone that there's some sort of a history with. It would not be like a brand new person, like a stranger that they just met showing up here. This would be someone that they already know on some level, if that's what it's talking about. This could just be talking about there's a lot of reminiscing going on right now. Behind the past energy, I have the Nine of Swords, Gemini energy of fear, worry, and anxiety. This is thinking about something over and over again with all this fear and worry behind the thinking, and doing that to the point that it becomes physically stressful. This is like sleepless nights. I can't concentrate on what I'm doing. Maybe I'm having nightmares. It's just a whole lot of worrying and stress happening. And then I have Two Cups right behind that. Cancer energy. This is a love connection between two people, an emotional connection, but it is a two, and in tarot, twos represent choices or decisions. So this is some sort of a decision about this connection, or maybe even a choice between more than one cup of love here. So we could have either someone from the past showing back up, and maybe there's another connection looming in the background that's got you fearful, worried, and anxious. That's kind of what it's looking like here. We might come back to that more as we go along. That's the gist of what it looks like this reading is going to talk to me about. This mutual point of interest is shared energy that affects both of you in some way. It doesn't always affect you both the same way. Sometimes they do this and you feel the consequences of it, or even vice versa. Sometimes they say or do something and it makes you feel or act this way, or vice versa. The shared energy between the two of you, Scorpio, is the Fool. This is the first card of the entire tarot deck. First card of the major arcana, card 0. This is a new beginning at something. It's usually a new beginning where I don't really know how this is going to work. I don't know what the steps are. I don't know what the end result is going to be. I'm just going to say screw it and go for it, and I will figure it out on the way down. I'll figure it out as I go. This can sometimes represent foolish behavior, foolish decision-making, taking some sort of an unnecessary risk, or even a risk outside of the connection. So let's clarify that. Tell me more about the Fool, please. Why is that the shared energy affecting Scorpio and their person here? Got one flip upright in the deck. What do we got? Okay. Below the surface of this Fool energy, King of Wands. This is Leo energy. This is a bold, passionate, fiery, determined person who knows exactly what they want. They typically don't take no for an answer. This is not the dude who's going to let some minor obstacle get in his way and stop him. This is someone who's either going to find a way to get what he wants, or he's going to create a way to get what he wants. So very driven, motivated, ambitious, go-getter type of an energy here. it is also the pinnacle of the wand suit. And the wand is about passion and desire and sexual energy. So this is someone who's not just driven and motivated in the normal sense. They're driven and motivated by passion and desire and that kind of stuff too. Right behind that, I have the Knight of Cups. This is an action taker, and cups are about love and emotions. So this is actions toward love and emotions, moving forward with romantic offers, romantic gestures, trying to advance some sort of a love connection in some way. And behind that, we've got a period of time going by. The Seven of Pentacles is Taurus energy, and this represents a period of time where either you're pausing to reflect and take stock of this connection, take stock of this whole situation, trying to decide, is this ever going to grow into the Ten of Pentacles that I really want, where we combine our lives together and build this stable, abundant, prosperous life together? Is this ever going to turn into that? Is this worth me continuing to invest my time and my effort and my energy into it? Or is this a spot where maybe it's not going to pan out the way I want it to, and maybe it's time for me to cut my losses and move on? So this can represent that period of time where those kind of things are being contemplated. It can also represent a period of time where the seeds have already been planted on something, but you can see here he can't harvest it yet. It's not fully developed all the way yet. So this can represent that period of time where we planted the seeds on something and time is going by and we're waiting on this chance to be able to harvest it and get something out of it. So I don't know if this is trying to tell me some new beginning has already taken place here, and maybe there's already been some forward movement romantically, and I'm just waiting on the correct timing. When I clarify the Fool, I get the Eight of Swords, Justice, and the Two of Swords. So what I don't really want to see this early in the reading is a whole bunch of swords, and I've got a cup here, but a sword right behind it. Now I've got two more swords. This Eight of Swords is Gemini energy. It's a step backwards from this Nine of Swords, so it's not quite as intense mental energy, but this is still grinding on something over and over again on this repeating loop in the mind and trying to figure out the pieces that I'm missing. You can see the person has a blindfold on. There's some data that I don't have here, and I don't know what's the safe step to take here. I don't know what the right move to make is, and I don't want to make a mistake and step in the wrong spot and do something wrong. So this is about grinding on it over and over again and trying to close those open loops and fill in those blanks I have and trying to figure out what to do. But it's about like feeling stuck and trapped and blocked because I don't really have all the answers. Central to this energy, I've got Justice, which is the Libra Major Arcana card. It's the most powerful card of balance in the deck. It's about doing the right, fair, just thing. The sword that's in the card is used to cut away something that's not in balance, so balance can be restored, and then the right, fair, just thing can happen. So this is usually an indicator that something unfair or unjust or unbalanced is going on, and it's directly below this Fool energy. So something not quite right with this foolish behavior or this blind leap of faith that someone's taken. And then I get the Two of Swords. So very interesting, because the Two of Swords is also Libra energy. It's also a 2, which we saw a 2 right behind this Nine of Swords here, this fear, worry, and anxiety about either this connection or another connection in the background. Again, the person has a blindfold on. So this represents a decision that needs made, only it hasn't been made yet. Now, sometimes that blindfold can mean I don't have enough information available to me in order to make this decision, which is why I haven't made it yet. Sometimes that blindfold can represent blinders that someone has on. In other words, there's something about this that I don't want to see. I don't want to look at it, and avoiding it is kind of preventing me from making a decision that I need to make. But what's interesting is these two cards, and I got 3 clarifiers. The first one and the last one have a person that's blindfolded on it. So something I don't know about yet. And in the center of that is Justice. And there's that saying, justice is blind. So there's some element here of something that you don't really know what's going on. Maybe you feel like you know something's going on, but there's gaps in what you can actually see and what you actually know. feeling probably like something unfair is happening here. And I don't know if this is your choice that you're not making, or if it's your person's choice and they're not making it, but it's got something unfair, unjust, unbalanced attached to that idea here. Possibly something unfair going on about what you don't actually see yet. That's the shared energy affecting both of you, Scorpio. I will come back to that as I go through your energy, because then I'll be able to see how that applies to you. I'll come back to it again when I go through your person's energy, because then I can see how it applies to them. For you, the first card is the most important. You get the Seven of Swords, central to your energy, Nine of Wands, and your final card, the Devil. Again, not what I want to see in your most important position. Seven of Swords is Aquarius energy. This is lying, cheating, deception, sneaking around behind someone's back, trying to get away with something that I shouldn't be trying to get away with. Now, I want to be clear. This is your energy and your most important position. That does not necessarily mean that you are lying and cheating and sneaking around. It's very common that the first card and all the clarifiers for it in your energy will end up being something from your person showing up in your energy, because whatever they're doing is affecting you so strongly. So let's clarify this Seven of Swords. Why is that the first card for Scorpio, please? Why is the Seven of Swords here? Tell me more. Okay. Below the surface of that deceptive energy, I get the Four of Swords, more Libra energy. This is about taking a pause, taking a rest, taking a break. This is about choosing to go inside myself and do some thinking about something, or do some healing about something. Fours are stability energy, and swords are about the thoughts or the mind. So this would be stabilizing the thoughts, stabilizing the mind. This is usually an energy that's telling you, shh, calm down, relax, stop thinking so much. I've got that Nine of Swords here below the surface of this overall energy. We've got the Eight of Swords out here in the shared energy. That is a lot of mental energy, and it's really hard to hear your internal guidance system when there's so much noise and chatter going on in your thinking. And this is usually instructions to just calm down, stop thinking so much. You can't hear your internal guidance system because of the thinking, and if you just chill out, the answer will come to you. Below the surface of that, I've got the Hierophant. This is Taurus Major Arcana energy. This is a card of commitment. It's about being fully committed to something bigger than yourself. In a relationship reading, this is being fully committed to the relationship. This is commonly referred to as a marriage card, although it doesn't necessarily mean the two of you are married. It could mean that. It could just mean that there is a commitment between the two of you, and this is a spot where maybe you believe that there is a commitment happening and we're going down the path toward being fully committed, and maybe we're on a break from this commitment right now. Yeah, it might be that. I got Six of Wands right behind it, Leo energy. This is an energy of, it's forward movement, and it's like victorious forward movement, but this is a card of recognition. So sometimes this means you're getting recognized for something in this commitment. More often than not, it means you're coming to some sort of a recognition. In other words, you're having this aha moment where, okay, now I get it. Now I see what's going on. Either way, whatever's getting recognized allows forward movement to happen. I'm not digging this. This is looking to me like maybe the unfair piece of this, the piece that you're not seeing, is if the two of you were on some sort of a break from this commitment, like we're taking a time out, we're taking some time to think and figure out what we want. It's looking like someone has made some forward movement here, and it's looking like we got somebody doing something probably not supposed to be doing. When I clarify this Seven of Swords, I get the Eight of Wands, the High Priestess, and the Ten of Cups. The Eight of Wands is Sagittarius energy. This is the second fastest moving energy in the deck. The only thing faster than this is the Chariot. This is very fast forward movement or progress on something that there's a lot of passion or desire for. This can be rapid back and forth, passionate communications happening. If that's the case, it's probably something happening behind your back. This a lot of times will be so much is happening so fast, like all at once, that it's too much to process all at once. It's like an overwhelming kind of a feeling because something is happening really, really quickly. It could also be, like I said, passionate messages happening behind your back during what looks like some sort of a pause or a break in this commitment here. Next clarifier for Seven of Swords is the High Priestess. This is your intuition. This is she who knows. This is your internal guidance system. It's your connection to spirit, source, the universe, however you want to look at that. But this is your internal knowing. It's when you normally, like, you don't have any actual way of knowing. This is just, I know and I can feel it. Usually this is an indicator that your intuition is trying to tell you something. The problem with the intuition is very rarely is it telling us what we want to hear. Usually it's going to tell us shit we don't want to hear at all. We don't want that to be true. And when we don't have the proof, we don't have the facts to support it, it's really hard for most people to listen to their intuition. It's usually something that we try to push off to the side or sweep under the rug and ignore it and pretend like it's not screaming at me about some sneaky deceptive thing that I can feel is happening. Probably because it's overwhelming to look at that. It's probably why I've got two cards out here with a blindfold on it. Either you don't have the facts to support what your intuition is telling you, or you don't want to see what it's pointing out to you. One of the two. Either way, what your intuition is talking about is directly related to the Ten of Cups. This is Pisces energy. This is most people's goal in terms of love and relationships, even though it really shouldn't be the goal. The real goal should be the Nine of Cups, because you need to be in the nine yourself, and the other person has to be in the Nine of Cups too. And that's what overflows the cups and gets you to the 10th. That's the actual only way to get to the 10 of Cups, the real 10 of Cups. This is supposed to represent happily ever after, happy fairy tale romance, true love, and happily ever after. This is about being together with someone that you're pouring your love into, and they're pouring their love back into you with the same amount of intensity that you're pouring it into them, and everyone's fully loved and fully happy and fully appreciated. Very rarely is that what this card is actually talking to me about. And if you just like zoom back and emotionally detach from your situation for a second and just look at this logically for a minute, if you really had the happily ever after with this person, would you be here right now watching a tarot love reading? The answer to that is no. You would just be out living your happy life. You'd be out pouring your love into them, and they'd be pouring love into you, and everything would be peaches and cream, and you would have zero need or use for what I'm doing right now. Because of that, what this normally represents is someone's idealized viewpoint of the relationship. In other words, I want this to be the happily ever after. I want this person to be the one for me. I want this really badly, to the point that I'm looking at this relationship for how I wish it was. I'm looking at it for the potential that I see in it instead of looking at it for how it actually is. I got my intuition is over here screaming at me about something overwhelming, something related to deception. I can tell you right now, if you really have the real legitimate 10 of Cups with this person, your very first card would not be 7 of Swords. Your very last card would not be the Devil. The Devil being here is a distortion in the energy. It's a heavy toxic energy. And when I've got both of these together, that is a very big clue that this isn't what you think it is. This isn't what you want it to be. It's something different than that. And I think your intuition is trying to tell you that. And I think there might be at least a piece of your mental energy that's going, no, I can't hear you. No, I don't want to hear that. I don't want that to be the case. But there's definitely something unbalanced happening here. And it looks like it's related to a new beginning. Next card in your energy, Scorpio, is the 9 of Wands, Sagittarius energy. This is about being walled off and defensive. This is an energy of healing, though. This is the wounded warrior, and he's built this wall around himself as a way to protect himself so he doesn't get hurt anymore, so he doesn't continue to get hurt. This usually is an indicator that you've been hurt and the walls have come up as a way to protect you. This can also just represent that there is some sort of a barrier that's in your way right now. Tell me about this 9 of Wands, please. Why is that the central energy for Scorpio in this connection, please? Below the surface of that 9 of Wands, King of Wands again. Leo energy, Again, bold, passionate, fiery, determined person. They know what they want. They're going to go after it. They're not going to stop. This is very driven, motivated, not just in the normal sense, but also by passion and desire here. So I don't know if it's this aspect of your person has caused you to get hurt and the walls are up, or if you're trying to place a barrier in the way of this person now, or if this kind of energy has caused a barrier to be placed in your way. I got the Wheel of Fortune right behind it. In terms of zodiac signs, this is the 4 fixed signs: Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio. This represents a change in the luck and fortune. So if things were going great and this card comes out, it's a pretty good sign things took a turn into the telephone pole when you weren't expecting it. If things are already going bad, this could indicate someone is trying to turn the wheel the other way and correct course and put us back on track and straighten this thing back out and make it so it's balanced again. Maybe trying to go for another lap. But it can also represent a repeating cycle of something happening again. Maybe we've got a repeating King of Wands, like being driven and motivated, making my decisions with not the head that's on my shoulders, if you know what I mean. Yeah, behind that Wheel of Fortune, I've got the Moon, Pisces energy. This can also represent fear, worry, and anxiety, just like this 9 of Swords that's 2 cards deep in the overall energy. But if you think about when the moon's out, it's dark outside. You can't see your own hand in front of your face. It's really hard to tell if you're on the right path or not, or if this was even the right path for you to begin with. And maybe I should go the other direction. Maybe I made a wrong turn. So just like that level of uncertainty can cause fear, worry, and anxiety in a person. So it can also represent, because it's dark and I can't see everything, that something is hidden in the dark. There's some sort of a secret being kept here. I've got 2 cards out here in the shared energy of you having a blindfold on and maybe not seeing everything. I've got lying, deception, sneaky behavior. I've got your intuition talking to you here, which is, again, one of those cards that can mean I don't really have the facts to support this. I didn't actually see it with my own 2 eyes. I can just feel it. But it's telling me something I don't want to hear. This is Moon card here is also a very powerful intuition card. Again, when I've got either one of these 2 cards, High Priestess or Moon, that's usually a pretty good sign there's some shit you don't know about going on. And I've got both of them here. And I've got lying, deception, sneaking around behind my back energy out here. When I clarify this 9 of Wands, I get 6 of Swords, 3 of Cups, Queen of Wands. Not liking how that looks either. 6 of Swords is Aquarius energy. This is about moving forward into calmer waters. It's about leaving these rough, choppy waters of the past behind you and moving away from something painful and moving into the future. But there is some implications with this card. First, the painful thing has already happened in this energy. You can't change it now because it's already occurred. Your only real power is in what you do moving forward from here, which is where the other implied choice comes in. Do I carry the burden that this painful thing has caused forward into my future with me so it keeps weighing me down and holding me back? Or do I carry forward the lesson I learned by going through this painful thing so it doesn't happen to me again? Clearly something painful has happened. You've got the walls up. There's an energy here of someone who's been hurt and doesn't want to continue being hurt. There's this overwhelming, too much happening all at once really fast. And now this, let's move forward and leave the pain behind. Next, I get 3 of Cups, which is Cancer energy. This has got 2 distinct meanings. This is either about being together, like being united and celebrating, or even reunited and celebrating, like getting back together. Or this can actually mean third-party love triangle, because we got 3 cups of love in the picture here. I've got the High Priestess right next to it. Like your intuition is telling you there's someone else involved. There's something sneaky going on behind my back. There's something, some sort of a risk-taking, some sort of a new beginning, some sort of an unfair thing that's here. Only I can't actually see it, so I don't really know if it's true or if it's just me. Then I get the Queen of Wands as the final clarifier, Aries energy. This is the counterpart to the King of Wands. They're the counterparts in the passion and desire end of things. 9 times out of 10, like this is the fire element queen, the hot queen. In other words, the queen that there's all this passion, desire, attraction, sexual energy for, tied directly to what can represent third party love triangle here. That could be why your walls are up. It's sitting right beside this 10 of Cups idealized point of view here. Again, if you have the real 10 of Cups with this person, she doesn't show up. You're a water sign. I would expect to see Queen of Cups for you. It's the most intuitive queen. Scorpio is the most intuitive sign. I've got the High Priestess out here. I just saw the moon a second ago. I got a lot of powerful intuition cards out here. And she doesn't feel like she's supposed to be here, which is probably why the Devil is your final card, Capricorn's major arcana card. This is heavy toxic energy. This is sometimes an obsession with something. Sometimes it's an addiction. Sometimes it's a feeling of being trapped by something, like feeling like I can't escape from it because it has so much pull to it that I can't break free. You notice on the card, that's the Fool right here in the cage. The Fool is the shared energy between the two of you. But here, he's completely naked. He's got his face buried in his arm, and he won't look at the situation he's in because he's afraid to face it. But if he did look at it, he would realize this cage door is wide open and he could just walk out and leave anytime he wants. He just doesn't know that. So he feels like he's stuck, which is really kind of what the Eight of Swords is about. It's about feeling stuck and trapped and blocked because I can't see. I don't know what's the right move to make here, and I don't want to make a mistake. And it looks like you have a decision to make and you're not making it for some reason. This is usually like a distortion in the energy. Like I mentioned when I talked to you about this 10 of Cups, the fact that both of these are out here means this isn't the real 10 of Cups. It's a distorted version. The Devil is an illusionary energy, and it's very good at convincing us that this thing that we have is indeed the thing that we want when it's not. It's something much more toxic than that, something distorted. Tell me more about the Devil, please. Why is the Devil the final card of Scorpio's energy in this connection, please? I just had 7 of Swords flip up and show itself to me, and it went right back in the deck and didn't come out. That doesn't mean that energy's not present. Very clearly it's present. It's your very first card out here. That usually, when that happens and it shows itself to me and makes it a point for me to see it, but then doesn't come out, it usually means somebody's trying to hold it in. Somebody's trying to, like, stop it from coming out. One more, please. Yeah. Below the surface of this Devil energy, the Wheel of Fortune again. We just saw that a second ago. This is a repeating cycle of something happening. It could also represent trying to correct course and put us back on the right track. The problem is there is no right track here. This is the Devil. This is a toxic, distorted thing that you've got here. And this would be like going for another lap in the distortion. When I get both of these cards together, I call that the karmic hamster wheel, which really means that this connection was meant to teach you some sort of a lesson through pain. And if you don't actually learn the lesson, you're going to repeat it again and go for another lap, and it's going to work out the same way. Hence, learning the lesson. And if you don't learn it the second time around, you're going to go for a third lap and a fourth lap and a fifth lap, and you're going to keep repeating that toxic cycle until you figure it out. I've got the overall energy, 6 of Cups, something from the past coming back up again or happening again. And this is the second time now that I've seen the repeating cycle. Yeah, right below that repeating cycle is the Knight of Cups. Actions toward love and emotions, trying to move forward with romantic offers, romantic gestures, trying to advance a cup of love. Now, I don't know if this is telling me you're trying to move forward with this and put it back on the right track and somehow fix this unfixable thing, or if this is telling me part of the toxic loop that's happening here is related to romantic forward movement in a different direction than you. Like when it's laid on the table, it's going the opposite way that you are. Now, when I clarify the devil, I get the Six of Wands again, the Page of Cups, and the Five of Swords. Six of Wands is Leo energy of recognition. We already saw this. Either you recognizing something, coming to some sort of a recognition that allows forward movement to happen. I've got two sixes in this top row. Both of them are moving forward into the future, and there's this really fast moving, overwhelming amount of energy in that same row with it. Almost like I didn't see this coming. This is coming out of left field somewhere. And there's this forward movement happening that maybe you're not wanting. I got the Page of Cups next. That's a step backwards from this Knight of Cups. The Knights are the action takers. Pages are just messengers. So this is news, messages, communications about love and emotions. It could be lovey-dovey messages, flirtatious behavior. This could represent an apology. This is normally like the early stages of some love offer where we're just kind of at the point of talking about it. But I've seen this Knight of Cups twice, and that's going from talking about it to actually doing something about it, taking action on it. I've got this this Page of Cups, this lovey-dovey, flirty behavior right beside third-party love triangle thing. Now, again, that could represent an idea of reconciliation and maybe wanting a message about that, and being trapped in this idea that this person's going to reach out and apologize and express feelings to me, and we're going to talk about this and get back together, and maybe even feeling like that's what my intuition is telling me. But I'm telling you right now, when I've got Nine of Swords, one step below the surface of the overall energy, Eight of Swords out here in the shared energy, something unfair and unbalanced, something that I don't see because I've got the blinders on. Maybe I don't want to see it. Maybe I don't want to hear what my intuition's telling me. But maybe this is saying I can't tell the difference between what's my intuition versus that fear voice in the back of my head. And I can't tell if I'm just being fearful and worried and anxious, or if that's my intuition talking to me. Also, I see people not just get confused between the fear voice and their intuition. I see a lot of people, especially now with all the fake readers that we have here on YouTube, people get confused between what's the fantasy voice in the back of my mind versus my real intuition. And they'll get those two blended together, and they'll have this wild fantasy that this is the person I'm supposed to be with, and we're supposed to fix this and go for another lap, even though it's this toxic connection. I don't want to see that piece of it. So I label my fantasy, my idealized point of view, the way I wish it was, I label that as my intuition, which gives me an excuse to continue going down this toxic path. I hope that's not the case for you, but I see a lot of that. Final card to clarify the devil is the Five of Swords, Aquarius energy. Fives are conflict. This can be a big fight that ends things, a bitter fight, bitter words being spoken, words being used like weapons, tongues being used like a sword to cut each other. This can represent a betrayal happening, which is pretty much what I'm seeing here. It's sitting right beside the hot queen, the other woman. Again, if this is the real Ten of Cups, this row does not exist in your energy. Other woman and betrayal does not fit with the real Ten of Cups. Now, it fits with the idealized fantasy version of the Ten of Cups, where that's what I want, and I'm trying to look at this relationship for it being that when it's clearly not. Three of Cups wouldn't be here. Seven of Swords, Five of Swords, Devil. None of that shit would be there if this is the real Ten of Cups. And I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, and I'm not trying to make you feel bad about it at all. I'm just emphasizing what this is telling me, because clearly that's something you probably need to be aware of. Scoot this over and take a look at your person's energy here. For them, the first card is the most important. They get the Eight of Wands. Excuse me. I can't read today. The Two of Wands. I need to get my contacts changed is what I need to do. I got the Star as their central energy, and their final energy is the Eight of Cups. The Two of Wands is Aries energy. Again, twos are choices. This is a fork in the road. It's a crossroads in their life. It's a crossroads in this relationship. It's a decision point. And it's a decision about what do they want their life to be like, and which of these two paths is going to get them to the life they want. But you can't turn left and right at the same time. So it's not just about which path am I going to go down, but which path am I going to leave behind. So tell me more about this choice, please. Why is the Two of Wands the first card for Scorpio's person in this connection, please? Well, below the surface of that, Page of Pentacles. Pages are messengers, so this is some sort of a communication thing. I saw that with the Eight of Wands over here. I got a Page of Cups over here on your side. There's forward movement twice, a third party. They're communicating with someone else. This is communications about some physical, tangible, new opportunity presenting itself. So it's communicating about that. Sometimes, a lot of times, that physical opportunity is like, hey, I'm going to be at this place at this time. We should meet up. And now we have the physical opportunity to do something together. This can also represent them having this early stage, not fully developed plan for their future. Some sort of a choice that they have to make, and they're probably talking about it. Four of Swords right behind that, Libra energy. Again, pause, break, taking a rest, going inside to do some thinking, to figure something out, trying to calm my mind down. And then I have defensive energy right behind that. Seven of Wands is Leo energy of defending their position, defending their stance on something, being willing to fight to protect something that's important to them, probably this early stage plan, probably the choice about what they want for their life, being defensive about it. That could also go all the way into them being defensive, as if you're intuition's telling you something and maybe you're asking them some questions and they're like, nuh-uh, ducking and dodging and bobbing and weaving. No, I'm not doing anything like that. It could be defensiveness in that regard too. Maybe trying to keep the blinders on you. That could be part of what's unfair going on here. They have a choice that they haven't made yet. And that choice is right here in their first position. It's probably related to a new beginning, especially with the clarifiers I'm getting. The first clarifier for the Two of Wands is the Two of Wands from the other deck, the Lovers, and another page, Page of Wands. Two of Wands, we just saw that. Whenever I'm clarifying a card and I get the same damn card as the clarifier, that's the universe beating me over the head going, dude, I'm telling you, there is a choice here about what this person wants, and they're going to pick a path and they're going to leave a path behind. Very next card to clarify that is the Lovers, Gemini's major arcana card. We've already seen the Two of Cups 3 cards deep in the overall energy. This is the major arcana version of the Two of Cups. A long time ago, before this card was even called the Lovers, it used to be called the Choice. So it represents the interconnectedness between people, and how when you're in a love connection with someone, they can't make choices that don't affect you, which is why the Seven of Swords is showing up as your first most important position here. What they're doing is definitely having an effect on you. This can also represent a choice about this connection, which I'm seeing very clearly. They have a choice about what they want right here. And I've got something from the past showing back up. This can also represent a choice between two different lovers, which makes a lot of sense, again, because your intuition is talking to you about third party. The third party card is connected directly to the other woman, which is connected directly to betrayal of this Ten of Cups idea. Like the way that I want it to be versus reality is not matching up. They have a choice between you and someone else, which is what this choice is that they're not making. That's why the choice is not fair, not balanced, not just. And I think they don't know what to do. If they do know what to do, These blindfolds represent that they're keeping you blindfolded, keeping you in the dark. Probably why I saw the moon below the surface a minute ago. Final clarifier for Two of Wands is Page of Wands, news, messages, communications about passion and desire, passionate messages. Your very first clarifier, Eight of Wands, rapid back and forth passionate communication. Too much happening all at once, feeling overwhelmed. This Page of Wands is the minor arcana version of the Fool card. It's a little bit more toned down version. The Fool will just leap right off the cliff and figure it out on the way down. And the Page of Wands is about having the willingness to take the very first steps down a brand new path towards something there's passion and desire for. The same row is this Queen of Wands. That's the something there's passion and desire for. They're standing at the fork in the road. Which path am I going to go down? Which path am I going to leave behind? That's the choice that they're at right here. And this is them choosing to have the willingness to go down the new path. I've got the old path here, but this is them going down the new path. I don't know yet still if this just represents the history between the two of you, or if this represents someone from their past, as in either someone they used to be with or someone that they know on some level, that there's already some form of history between the two of them. Central for their energy, Scorpio, is the Star, the Aquarius Major Arcana card. This is a card of hope. It's a card of healing. It's also the card that comes immediately after the Tower. So you don't make it to the Star energy without the Tower collapsing first. When the Tower collapses, that's usually the collapse of the relationship or the belief system around the relationship. The Tower usually represents the collapse of the old, and the Star is usually about the hope for the new. Tell me about the Star, please. Why is that central energy for Scorpio's person? Let's get one more on the Star, please. Below the surface of the Star, Queen of Cups. There you are here. This is the feminine water sign energy. This is usually Cancer energy. You're a water sign. This is probably you. It's the most intuitive queen. Notice she's also the only character in the deck that has a lid on top of her cup. And she does that as a way to protect her emotions from getting contaminated. Your central energy over here is the Nine of Wands. The wall's coming up as a defense. A way to protect yourself. Putting the lid on your cup as a way to protect yourself. Clearly this person has hurt you. I don't know if this is them hoping that you heal from this. Could be that. Well, it could also be that maybe they're hoping that you don't feel what's going on in the background here, which is communications about physical opportunity, some early stage plan for their future. There's commitment in the background behind that, fully committed. At least that's what it's supposed to mean. Yeah, right behind the commitment, I get the Three of Swords. Heartbreak and sadness, usually from a third energy. So they have some sort of a plan for their future that's coming in front of the commitment that they have with you. And behind it is heartbreak and sadness. When I clarify the Star, I get the Devil again. So I'm using two decks, and now I've got the Devil in both of them. King of Swords, Four of Swords. So here we are again with a bunch of Swords cards that we don't want. This Devil, we've already seen it. Heavy toxic energy. Capricorn's Major Arcana card. Notice these are the same two people from the Lover's card. But here they have chains around their neck. They've grown horns and tails because they've been in this toxic connection for so long. It's starting to distort them. It's starting to change pieces of who they are. They feel like they can't escape from it. But notice the chains are just loops around their neck. They could take this chain off of their head and leave anytime they want to. They just don't realize they can because they're probably fallen for this idea that this is this powerful love connection when it's really just toxic. It's good enough to convince you that this is what you want. But it's not what you want. You don't want to feel like this. You don't want betrayal. You don't want someone sneaking behind your back. You don't want someone bringing another person into your connection. You damn sure don't want your intuition trying to tell you all this stuff when you don't want to hear that. Like, I understand. I've been there before. But we have some sort of a choice here for your person, and it's toxic. It's not a healthy thing that's happening here. Next clarifier for the star is the King of Swords, more Aquarius energy. This is a decision-making energy, but it's also someone who's very emotionally detached when they make their decisions. They toss the emotions right out the window, and they don't care how anybody feels. All they care about is what's the truth, what are the facts, what can I see, what can I verify, what do I already know, and I'm going to decide based on that. And emotions and feelings and love are going to have no place in this decision. Notice that that card is connected to the Lovers and the Devil directly. So that's the person that you have all this love for, but it's also the person that you're in a toxic attachment with. Next, I get the Four of Swords, which is Libra energy, taking a pause, taking a rest, taking a break. Maybe that's what they're telling you. That's the logical, rational justification for this very irrational, unhealthy behavior that they have. Maybe they're justifying this other person being here and the communications and the willingness to go down that passion, desire path, to take the blind leap of faith on this new beginning. Maybe that's being justified by the fact that, well, we're on a break. You can't get mad about that. Bullshit. That's not how breaks are supposed to work. Breaks are supposed to be about where we're taking time to figure something out so that we can move forward successfully. It's not supposed to be about, well, let me use this as an excuse to lie, cheat, and steal and basically do whatever the fuck I want. That ain't how this is supposed to go. Final card for your person, Scorpio, Eight of Cups, Pisces energy. This is, again, emotionally detaching energy. I've got the emotionally detached decision maker as literally their central energy. And then I get emotionally detaching, physically walking away. A lot of times this is someone walking off because they think there's something better out there for them. I'm going to see if the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. And if it's not, don't worry, we're just on a break. And if I can't make this thing pan out the way I want it to, I'll come back. That's probably why I'm seeing the Devil here. They're keeping you attached to something. You don't really know what's actually going on here. You feel it, but feeling it and being able to prove it in a court of law is something entirely different. But keep in mind, this isn't a court of law. You don't have to prove everything beyond a reasonable doubt. You just got to trust your gut. When you know, you know. Especially being a Scorpio. I'm Scorpio rising, Scorpio North Node, Scorpio in Uranus. Scorpio rules my first house and my 12th house. Believe me, I get Scorpio energy. When you know, you know. You don't need fucking proof. You don't need fucking evidence. You just need to listen to yourself and trust yourself. That's it. But this person is walking away to see if the grass is greener. Tell me about the Eight of Cups, please. What is that final card for Scorpio's person? Well, below the surface of that Eight of Cups, Seven of Pentacles. So there's that period of time going by where we're pausing to reflect and take stock of this and trying to decide, is this worth continuing to invest in or not? Should I cut my losses and move on, or keep pouring myself into this? This could also be a period of time going by where the seeds were already planted. They already took this blind leap of faith. They already made their choice and have another person involved here. And maybe they're hoping this toxic thing they're up to pans out, and they're rationalizing this toxic stuff, rationalizing it because we were on a break. And while you think we're waiting on some time period to go by, they're already moving on. Yeah, Knight of Cups. Actions toward love and emotions, moving forward romantically. King of Wands, passion, desire king here. This King of Swords is the dude who makes his decisions with his head, and the King of Wands is the dude who makes his decisions with his other head, with the passion, desire end of things. When I clarify this idea of going to see if the grass is greener on the other side. First clarifier, the Tower, the World, King of Pentacles. The Tower is the collapse of everything. It's the important structure coming apart, shattering all around you. This is normally the collapse of the relationship. They chose to walk away. They've got some toxicity, some unhealthy thing driving their choice about what they want. And that brings everything crashing down. Now, like I said, this can be the collapse of the relationship. It can also be the collapse of your belief system about the relationship. In other words, I believed this was the one for me. I believed this was my happily ever after. But my intuition told me something different. I swear, and I hate to bring this up again, but I see so many people confuse what they want to happen with, they just label it. No, but my intuition's guiding me. My spirit guides are taking me in this direction. No, that's not what's happening. Your intuition is not telling you that some other person is the one for you. Your intuition is your radar system. It's your warning system. It's not the, oh, here's your happily ever after. That's not what it's for, and that's not what it does. And this is the collapse of everything around it. Then I get the World. It's the final card of the Major Arcana. So we start the reading off with the first card of the Major Arcana. Now we've got the last card. This is a completed cycle from beginning to end. This is the ending of a cycle, and at the same time, the beginning of the next cycle. They're walking away. The Tower has collapsed. This cycle has ended. They're starting a new cycle. King of Pentacles. This is Taurus energy. This is a lot of times husband type energy. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean legally married husband like you're married to them, although it could mean that. I have seen the Hierophant a couple of times. I don't have Queen of Pentacles. I don't have 10 of Pentacles. I don't have 4 of Wands. I don't have any of the other cards that would normally indicate a marriage. This is one of them. It could indicate this person is your husband. It could indicate that this person is a husband already and they're going back to being that. This could just be an ending of the cycle, the collapse of the belief system where I thought this person was going to turn into my husband. I thought they were behaving as if that's what they wanted, but that cycle has ended and a new cycle has begun. I've got this idea of pause, wait, hold the phone here as it relates to being husband. And on the other side of that pause, I've got this idea of taking the very first steps down a new path toward passion and desire. This looks like something that has happened before, and it's probably happened again. In other words, like especially seeing the Wheel of Fortune more than once, this is probably a case where this ain't the first time they've made a different choice than you, and maybe had the hope that you would take them back if this didn't pan out the way they wanted. And maybe before it didn't pan out the way they want and they came back. This doesn't tell me the future. Tarot is not a window that you can look through to see the future. It's a mirror that reflects the energy back to you so you can see what's really going on and make any needed adjustments, because your future isn't predetermined. Your future is determined in the moments of your decisions and the actions that you take and don't take. So this is kind of reflecting to you the future you're in the process of creating right now. And if you don't like the reflection that you see, you get to change things. You get to make some adjustments along the way here. You don't have to relive the past. This is looking like someone that they already know has come back into the picture, hence this choice that they're making, hence this betrayal that's here, hence this other energy that's showing up, and your intuition screaming at you, but maybe you don't have the facts to support it. And again, you're a Scorpio. You don't need the fucking facts. You just need to feel and trust what you feel.